So the first order of business is to amend the minute, or amend the agenda to remove the presentation from passive, and anything else that you would like to remove for the, in the interest of brevity for Brian who's asleep.
No, I'm good.
Well, obviously no public to be heard.
Wait,
Before we.
you have to move to amend
I'll
the
make an
agenda.
amendment. So I'll make a
I
motion.
make a motion, we remove the PACIF insurance briefing for the loss consultant.
I'll second
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that one's off. No public. Mo may show up.
He's not coming. I talked to him today.
Okay, what is the tax rate? What are the numbers suggesting?
The tax rate would be 0.4654 this year to cover, the budget. And here I have this handy calculation chart.
Thank you.
So, so the local agreement plus the municipal rate is the total municipal rate. And that increased by 1.223% from last year. But when you, on the second page, when you add that to the decreases in the non-homestead tax and the homestead tax rates from the school, we're still, the tax rate is still down 2.81% for homestead and 2.06% for non-homestead.
Yeah, that's good.
So our town tax rate's gonna be what?
It's 0.4679.
Right, well, what's our total tax rate? That's what I'm asking.
The,
You're talking about dollars.
Dollars, I mean, I'm talking, what's the rate gonna be, like $1.30 a thousand or 100?
so the budget was 1.493175, so 1,493,000.
Right, but we usually come out with a number, we know we're gonna tax rate at $1.35, $1.37.
So did Linda give that to them, like
The education tax rate?
The education tax, she came to you guys, I think, a few weeks ago.
It was gonna be down slightly for us.
Right, so the homestead tax rate is down, 4.26 for us, and down 3.27 for the non-homestead tax rate. That's without
Right, but
calculating.
usually what we have done in the past, you had, so you could do a comparison. We'd had last year's tax rate, municipal and school.
Right, that's on the second page. Isn't it?
Was that one that we had the back and forth about the minutes?
I don't know, but this is what I've given every year for the last 3 years. I just update it every year.
Well,
So-
Gavin's answer is excluding the school is on the second page, correct? If we
Right.
go municipal rate of
129.
yeah, and
This is the year we're in, 129. And then we got 120.127.
Okay, so if we're looking at so FY 26 is what we're talking about. So it's FY 25, was the one that just ended in, calendar year 25 is what we're in, but that's actually FY 26. So what we're talking about is the tax rate of 2026 on this chart. The common level of appraisal is 100% at this point.
So if I'm reading this right, we're down roughly 5 cents. Am I reading that right? If you look at what you had for 25,
that is correct.
and you're looking at 26, you're down about 5 cents.
Right,
Yeah.
and here's the
What are the numbers?
if it was strictly on a municipal rate, it would be an increase, but because we have a 10% decrease in the common level of appraisal because of our current appraisal, the fact that it's current,
And we
it
have,
aggregates to about a 5 cent. Those two factors,
Yeah.
increase in spending and the effect of the common level appraisal.
and we've increased our taxable parcels as well. Last
Okay.
year, we were at 1,039, and this year we're at 1,046.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Mm.
Well,
So you're right, we're down 5 cents.
so when someone asks you,
Right.
you got a number you can actually say, hey, it's down 5 cents in your tax rate.
Yeah.
Where do you get 5 cents? 129 to
1.75 or
123.
Well, yeah, but it's almost 124,
Yeah.
so it's roughly 5 cents.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's rough, I mean, it's.
So you need a motion to set the tax
Someone-
rate.
Yeah, a motion to set the tax rate at .4679.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Can you say 5.4 before?
I meant 4679,
Okay.
that's the correct number.
I make a
Okay,
motion to
so-
approve the minutes dated,
With an amendment,
uh,
because it was sent out before. Motion to amend the minutes to add the words "and David" on the last line of item 16 after Brian.
okay, yeah, I make a motion, as amended, we approve the minutes for 28th July as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay. Everybody's in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay, that one's a done one.
That's me, right? The 2025 truck is ready to be delivered out of the blue. And the final payment invoice is in this AP for $41,278. So that's gonna be delivered this week, I believe. I talked to
Yeah,
Will.
good.
Yeah, not to belabor that, but I was kind of wondering, so compared to like the grader where we hadn't taken receipt and the vendor said, hey, you haven't taken receipt, so you have no obligation, so we're not gonna charge. And then we've been talking about this truck for like months, and I wondered, how do we get ourselves,
Yeah, so, when we signed it in,
You ordered that truck 2 years ago.
April.
but was that a situation where we had a vendor, a sub that was working for the truck manufacturer and therefore how do we get in this
How
situation?
do we get into this? So last year, Sandy Ladd provided the cost of what it would look like. And then I think in the beginning of the year for a 2026 truck. And then during the year, we decided that we wanted to lock in. There is a whole process, I think they're a year out from the time we lock in until the time that it's ready, because they have to build it. So, at that point, we had done the math and the select board had taken $152,274 out of the equipment fund we actually saved money if you put down that amount at the beginning, there's a
Saved like
certain percentage.
$27,000.
Yeah, you save some money, so that was what you did in the beginning. Now that we are at the end and it's ready to be delivered, that's when we pay the balance due.
Because it's two separate entities.
Yeah.
You deal with Charlie Boys for the truck and Viking for the equipment, the body work and all that. And that's been the big holdup. I think they've been waiting for that body for 5 months.
Yeah.
5 months.
5 months.
It's a long time.
And
Yeah,
actually, if
well,
anybody's
so-
taking a hit on this, it's Charlie Boys.
So we start I think it was last April when we started this conversation.
Okay, I was just,
Yeah.
okay, so next time
Right.
we might talk about that up front with whoever the
I
vendor is.
think Charlie Boys is doing their stuff different now too. When you get a quote on a truck, you won't get it till you actually get the truck in the lot for what they're gonna give you for your trade-in.
Yeah.
Because they've been waiting for that truck for an extra 5 months to get rid of it.
So, in terms of the grader, you would ask what the process for the grader was. So there are different companies. Charlie Voice is what we're getting our new, truck from. And, we're getting the John Deere grader. All they required was for the select board to, so from John Deere, they just require, I think it's United Construction and Forestry. They just required that the select board make a motion to lock into the rate, and then they start building it, and we don't have to put down a deposit. We just need to have the money ready when it's done.
Yeah.
The process that we have, I mean, this might get into the weeds, but we have funding available for this truck payment, and we have funding available for, at this exact same time, we have our final equipment payment for the 2023 truck plus interest. That's due next Monday, so we're paying tomorrow. It all is happening in the same AP, and it'll be okay. We have all this money. But what I've done is I've transferred the 41,000 of the 2025 truck. I've transferred 41,278 just in our books to the equipment fund.
Yeah.
So what that looks like is right now we had budgeted $60,000 in that budget line, transfer to equipment fund. If we're charging, 41,278, that means that the balance that'll actually be deposited once we collect taxes and we're ready to make that transfer would be $18,722. That's not including the $75,000 surplus transfer to equipment line, which is also going in there. When we get to the point of paying for the grader, that we're gonna have to have another conversation, because we do have money in, once we make these transfers, we have money in the equipment fund and the small truck equipment CD to cover the grader. But we can't just use the balance of the equipment fund because of this, this new bill.
And you shouldn't use the balance of that small equipment fund either.
No, it will, altogether.
That's how we paid for that thing, by keeping them separated. I mean, I don't know what's gonna go on. We may not be plowing up there, so.
Yeah, we may not be plowing. But that's sort of that's a conversation for a little later if we want to get into it tonight.
And sometime we're gonna need a conversation, what are we gonna use these funds for that property we sold? Have you got receipt of much of that money yet?
The properties, yeah, it's coming in, I think, next week. So we had 70, what is it, I don't remember the deposit for, not Berry Wild, but,
The one up East
yeah, the
Fairfield?
one in East Fairfield. Sherman,
Yeah.
Sherman Street. That was 70, I think, that came in and went right into our checking account, and the closing is taking place, I believe, this week.
But we were keeping those monies separate, weren't we, for a while? That shouldn't have gone into general funds.
It was part of, well, it didn't go into general funds, it was accounted to the correct accounting place, but it's not in our operating accounts, it's just the other deposits went into an escrow with Tim Hawkins, and the closing is different because they had to put down a deposit that went into escrow with him, and then they have a balance or a tally sheet at the end when they sign the deeds, when they
When it
close.
finally gets done.
So I believe those checks are on their way in the
Yeah.
mail. So I'm saying that next week, because we don't have deposits this week, the town clerk's office is closed. And I believe we're gonna be getting $42,000, something like that. And then the
That's good.
last one is Berry Wild, and that's a whole other
Yeah.
process, because it's delayed, it's the second round.
We should go right through your list, please.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry, I can get into tangents. Let's see. So the 2025 truck is ready. The final payment of the 2023 truck is in there. There's a process that we can look into later. We completed and submitted the plowing bid for the Fairfield Center School. I have copies if you want copies. I did what you told me to do in the last meeting. And tracked it out for the 3 years. Let's see. The common school. We need to figure out, so we have documents from the common school planning meeting on our public documents page, but we should really move that, and I don't want to do that without your approval, just because it's adding a whole new line on one of the tabs of the website.
I don't understand what you mean by that. So you're saying
So-
this is about allocating activities on the website?
Yeah,
Or-
so right now we just have a place on public documents. People are asking to get information about the common school because they can't find it on the website.
I see.
So, there are 2 places on the website. One is either under boards and committees, we could add a line, or under more, we could add a line. The more is, like community center, those are links, external links. So it gives information about the town, but it doesn't have, like the library link is there and the Chester Arthur Homestead is there. So I'm just asking if we can move it into a place where when you toggle that one thing, people can see more, they can see common school, planning group. Or it's because it's a formal committee at this point with active members, can we put it under boards and committees?
Seems like it would make sense to me, boards and committees. It's
That's what I was thinking.
more, it might be more illustrative than more.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Mark? You're on that thing.
Either way, I think, but yeah, boards and committees probably.
That seems like a more realistic area to be in, doesn't it?
The quit claim deeds for the property sales, Tom Hawkins, we talked about that. I signed the final paperwork, everything is closing soon. Grants update, I received and signed the grants and aid agreement with V-Trans for next summer, which is at $42,000 this year, for that year, with a 20% match. We're still awaiting the results of the state's environmental review of the $60,000 Mackenzie Road culvert replacement that will be taking place next year. We've been approved of the grant, but we can't move forward with anything until we've gotten through the environmental review. The current grants and aid project on Lapland Road was completed, so I've started tallying the timesheets and the equipment costs. That can be closed out as soon as we've received all of the invoices. We've started, I think we have one in there at this point. And, I'll be working with the common school to reapply for the village trust application again. Most of it's already written for, we just have to update some of the details around the way that I think that the Community Center Association wants to have some type of agreement with the town that if we get, if we start really renovating, that they can have access to being able to use the space. So that just has to be worked out. Anything else about the common school that you can think of?
Well, I know they were talking about waste.
The wastewater.
Wastewater.
That's right. So they're revisiting the wastewater state study so that they can get more information to better suit the
Yeah.
needs of the building for what the plan
Yeah,
is.
that looks like there's gonna be a cost to that.
It is, it's all covered by the grant. Yeah, everything that's happening at this point, there's an RFP for engineering services that's out, there's, Greta is now formally, working with us
Right.
on that committee, and she's getting paid through Northwest Regional Planning. This is all covered by the grant that we received.
Right, yeah. But the wastewater's not
The
covered.
wastewater is actually part of that grant.
It is?
It is, yeah, 100%, yeah. Yeah, it's covered. and it should fall within the budget, so we've estimated
Okay.
how much that was gonna cost. Let's see. So those are grants. So the only other things that are on the, agenda, so we have a tax anticipation loan to talk about and an ethics update that we need to talk about.
Well, bring them up, let's go.
Okay, so tax anticipation loan. Where are you? The request that I'm making today is $75,000 versus some of the bigger numbers from years past. That assumes,
I mean, last year was like 500K or
Yeah.
something, right?
yeah, so we clarified the sweep account. I've been working closely with Amanda this year on understanding the dynamic between the sweep account and the checking account and how that looks. So we're really trying to get, but basically what we're doing is looking at, after this AP right now that we approved tonight, we'll have a balance of $100,000. And if you skip down to the bottom, the operating account, it says 100,000. We expect, usually there's people who pay their taxes early. So we expect $400,000 in tax revenue. And then as soon as I can get that reimbursement for grants and aid, there will be $25,000 from that, an estimated $40,000 from the properties, which is coming in next week, and then an estimated $13,000 in miscellaneous revenue, which is how much, looking back over the years we make during this time. So altogether, the revenue that we expect is about $578,000. But the anticipated expenses between August and November 1st are $653,000. So the request is that we take out a $75,000.
Should we have that property sales in this?
Yeah, it's right in
I know, I
the,
see it's in there, but should we have it in there? Should it be part of this? See, that'd be kind of,
we can take it out, that would be fine. It would just increase the tax anticipation.
if we're gonna use that specifically for something special,
Right.
we
If
don't,
we
we
want to
don't wanna
deposit
hit
it into a
Yeah.
CD
We don't
or
wanna
something
just
like
do
that,
that.
yeah, we could do that. We
I
can
don't
also,
think, this is a question, but I don't think putting it there ties our hands on future.
Future.
I don't think it does. That's not a
This is
budget, that's not a budget, that's a placeholder.
yeah,
The budget is established,
right,
that's just a placeholder. This is determining how much money we need to borrow in order to,
cover payroll
Yeah.
and.
right, cover cash flow.
Cash flow, things.
And that's a significant, based on Gavin's wisdom last year, we
Yeah,
had this,
exactly.
and you have gone from 500K plus or minus to 75K,
Right.
based on Gavin's, hey, we didn't do this before, right?
Did I get a
Right.
bonus for that?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get
I
a
think
bonus.
You get a
Yeah.
bonus.
I think you should be recognized for that,
Yeah.
and
You get to
for-
be a select board member for another 3 years.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But this money, the thing is, this money should stay together in my mind till we decide what we're truly gonna do, as long as it doesn't go in general funds.
Right.
I don't care how you use it.
yeah, so
Well,
once
Basically, we're
we,
just using it to
it's
get it
really,
started.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, the budget and accounting system is separate, we have one checking account.
Yeah.
So all the money goes into the checking account,
Yeah.
and then it's accounted for in our accounting system.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue. I think
Yeah.
your next statement is an issue, and your statement that I thought we could discuss is, where it's kind of got me confused a little bit, is in this line item where you say, tax bills plan to go out by the beginning of September, but there are big expenses around Corn Road construction on Lappin and North Road engineering, paving,
Right.
that anticipated, so I was curious what, because this is not seat of the pants, this is, we got a budget. So
Yeah.
what were you expressing there?
Right, I was just expressing what our expenses look like through, so for example, we'll get an invoice for $100,000, we need $100,000 in the checking account, when that is due. So when you're looking, everything is ebbing and flowing all the time, but we also have, when we have grants and we have big projects, we have to be ready to,
Okay.
one, spend in advance of the grant, so we can't, you know, that's part of it. And then two, if we have a really big, like when Zuera Road was being, when we were doing the bridge, we had huge expenses that were not in the general fund. You know, and that's the sort of like, you know, when we get an invoice for 100,000, it kind of tips the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, but with that said, and with that caution said,
Right.
you're still recommending this.
75, yeah. So altogether in terms of anticipated operating expenses, August 12th through November 1st, we're looking at general fund expenses of $628,509.
Yeah.
And then grants and aid expenses, and that's right from our budget, which was approved. The town budget is $1,919,000.
Okay, you want a motion for tax anticipation note of 75,509? I'll make that motion.
I'll second that, yeah.
Okay, you all in favor of that? Because you can, I mean, worst scenario, you bring it back up again.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the worst scenario.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that scenario is we pay it off early,
Yeah.
which we could do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Gavin pays his taxes, we won't even need that.
I know, people pay taxes like the
Donald
first
said we're
week,
gonna be
we're
rich,
all
what the hell's
set.
wrong with it? Oh, you guys are worried. You're all gonna be rich.
What?
Donald said you're all gonna be rich.
Oh,
Can you go to the bank with that and use it for borrowing money?
What?
Donald says we're all gonna be rich.
I don't know if we can leverage that.
Oh, okay, just
comment.
asking.
I mean, I can look into it if you do a small
You're not
report.
talking about Vermont.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Oh, that's true. So the next piece is the ethics, now we're up to we're done, I want to be done with the ethics conversation too. But, so the ethics,
Yeah, I want to just say one thing.
Yeah.
So this isn't just for the public and for anybody who's paying attention. So once again, this is not being, this is, we had an ethics policy, but we're responding to state legislature mandates. That's what, so just, I just
Yeah.
want to, you're kind of the mouthpiece, you're driving this, you know, implementation, but we're reacting to legislative required, a new statute.
yeah,
So anyways, that's all I want to say.
yeah, so we're almost there. The last thing that we have to do for the ethics enforcement is the ethics enforcement piece. So if somebody has a complaint or has a concern that seems to violate, that we're, you know, the town of Fairfield somehow is violating the state code of ethics, which was, is part of the statute, then the state of Vermont is requiring, and all, you know, all of the towns have to do this, that we update our website to say how ethics complaints and enforcement is handled in Fairfield. So it's not just that we do something, we have to actually have a method. So I've looked all over the place, and I actually was pointed to this, the fact that we don't have this yet, from legal counsel. So he also guided me to look at specific places for language and process. So I do have, based on that conversation with him and then the research, I have a process for investigation and enforcement of ethical violations in the town of Fairfield draft. And I also, just before I give this to you, want to point out that the state of Vermont says that you either need to have a policy, a policy, a process, or an ordinance. Having a process, we can change at any time. There's no big warning of things. It's sort of an internal document of how we handle things, but we still need to approve it. policy, we'd have to look at the other policies to see where it fits and what's missing. And then an ordinance would take would be a whole process with warnings and posting.
Yeah.
So I took that liberty to come up with a process. We can do whatever you
Do
want.
you know who it was copied from, which town?
What was that?
It was copied from another town? That one?
No, it was streamlined. It was streamlined to.
But you're saying, but Ron's question is,
Yeah.
you looked at how many other towns?
Yeah, I looked at Williston, Essex, Sheldon, and Swanton, and streamlined them. And then this is the suggested complaint form that the state has on their website that you can put your logo on and adapt a little bit, just, to change the words. So what I'm gonna hand out to you is a process and a complaint form. Process. So the first page is just what people are putting on their websites, and then they list the documents below.
Do we have a record of the last decade of ethical complaints logged in Fairfield?
We don't have an ethics policy process or anything, so, no.
I don't recall one in the last decade.
Planning and zoning? Select board?
I mean, planning and zoning, there was some discussion about conflict of interest. But no, we didn't ever have an ethics. I don't recall I've been here for
Okay.
20 years, I don't recall
Just,
whenever.
yeah, just curious.
I don't recall whenever.
And the new statute is pretty specific on how to file a complaint, so
Right.
this is kind of taking from the statute.
Yeah, exactly. The complaint form is straight from the Ethics Commission website, and the enforcement form, there's suggestions there, but this is really streamlined to us.
I've looked at this, it's quite I think it's quite a departure from the status quo. I'd like to.
What we're doing here now, you mean?
No, I'm saying that this is more of a responsibility than it has been
Absolutely.
in the past.
Absolutely,
It's a much bigger obligation.
absolutely.
And so I'll just say, I appreciate the work you've done. I'd like to make a motion, we table this until the next meeting so that other board members can have the opportunity to review this. And just have a policy that we shouldn't be approving something that we first gotta look at.
Thank you.
But I suspect it's gonna mimic what's on the state pretty close.
And what's the state gonna do if you don't enact something of this nature?
That's always the question. I mean, it's obviously everywhere at this point. All of the other towns are doing this. It's a state statute. We have an
They're all
ethics.
required to do it, doesn't necessarily mean they're all doing it.
I've looked, and most everybody is getting up to speed on this. And there's an ethics commission that meets regularly, and I have to, the ethics commission is monitoring what the towns are doing.
Yeah, that doesn't give me a warm fuzzy.
Yeah.
No, me either. I mean, what I'm
That's
saying.
what I was just thinking.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm saying is that sort of there's this unpaid mandate from
Yeah,
the
no,
state.
I'm
you
just
know.
saying, that wasn't
Yeah.
addressed at you. I just,
No, I hear
I
you.
saw what they're supposed to do, and
Yeah,
they basically log the complaint, but they don't do any interpretation.
no,
They're-
they're
that's-
just
they-
making the towns.
Yeah, they don't do any
do that.
interpretation.
Right.
It's really on the person who is filed against makes the determination.
Right,
So, which to me is, I guess it's formally raising the visibility, but the select board member or the member of the planning board is the one who,
has to do the
reads it,
research. Yeah.
makes a determination, states it, writes a form, writes a memo for the record and presses on.
Mhm.
And then the voters ultimately
They actually
Would have
don't
the
need anything to
opportunity.
do with it. They-
Yeah, that's why I
yeah,
say,
they really
this
don't.
ethics committee,
Right,
they're not really doing it. I mean, I don't know, they're
it's
keeping
all
rec-
brand new too.
Yeah.
I mean, it is all brand new. All of us are in the boat, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So-
Well, I think this is great work. I think we should table it to the next meeting.
Okay.
You in agreement with that, Rob?
I agree, yeah.
And in between, if anybody has suggestions on how to handle it, I'm happy
What
to,
do Sheldon's look like?
almost exactly the same as theirs. Yeah. Only they, I believe, have an ordinance. I'm pretty sure that they chose an ordinance instead of a process.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Process seems more flexible.
That's what I thought too. It seemed more Fairfield.
Anyone want to volunteer for the ethics POC?
Okay, you got any other business?
That's it for me.
I have one thing. I just want to let you know that at our last select board meeting, I told you that there was a change, a fairly significant change to the proposed bylaw amendment, saying that conservation resources would not be considered on 2-lot or less subdivisions. Recall that?
Mm-hmm.
So that we didn't have to tell people where to build on their little 1-acre piece of property. At our last meeting, one board member brought up a complaint about that again. Remember, it was a 6-to-1 vote when we voted it a month ago. And then this last meeting, that same board member brought it up again and said they felt we were giving up our authority and giving up our ability to tell people where to build, and proposed a 45 to 60 day hold on the bylaw revision to gather more information. There was no information suggested at the time. It was a pause to think about it. That was marginally revised to a 30-day delay, and I asked for a vote, and it went 3-3. We had one board member on vacation, and so according to the rules, it carries. And so we are in the process of a 30-day delay right now that one of the 3 board members has now changed their mind on. And so when we come to September, I think we'll get it back the other way, but I just wanted you to have a heads up that we did not make progress.
It's hard to believe.
Isn't it?
Hard to believe.
And when the minutes came to me today, it said 60 days, and I said, oh no. No, we're already behind. It was set at 30. It is going to be 30. And then there's been discussion since about, well, what sort of information is being sought? Soil data. Well, the soil maps were built in 1970 and have not been updated, and we are certainly not undertaking that. So I don't know what information is proposed to be gathered, but it's a pause that was supported by the public that was in attendance at the meeting. And the concern was that we would be giving up our ability to tell people what to do.
On land they already own, pay taxes upon.
Correct.
They're not in violation of any of your other.
Correct.
Yeah.
But according to the town plan says that we need to preserve agriculture. And so I made the suggestion, well, let's look at Damian Brannon, kept 1 acre out of his land trust so that he could build a home when he gets old or wants one for his kids or whatever. And we're gonna tell him now, oh, sorry, it's in the middle of prime ag, you can't build on that.
Yeah.
And this has, but we didn't have, those people, those public members were not in attendance. So I am hopeful that they will be in attendance in September to show some balance.
Yeah.
On Thursday, we will be interviewing 4 zoning candidates.
Zoning administrators?
Zoning administrator candidates, 1 with experience, 1 with lots of legal experience, 1 interested town person, and the guy from Sheldon that we met last month.
Well, surprised you got 4, but I'm happy to hear it.
Well, especially the one with experience. It's very exciting.
The last 2 came in
Like
at the
just right
11th,
at the, yeah, like right at
11th
the-
hour. just
I'd
as
already
we-
made interview appointments with the 2 previous ones, the town person and the person from Sheldon,
Yeah.
and had to add 2 more in, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, nice to hear.
Yeah,
So getting back to the one, so you said the exemption would apply to subdivisions that are more than 2 lots?
less
So-
than,
Less than 2.
less than.
Less than,
Like
so.
a 2-lot subdivision would not be
So what
subject
is
to.
a 2-lot subdivision? If you have, so you have a piece of land, this is a piece of land,
Yeah,
and a 2-lot, that's a 2-lot
that's a 2-lot, that's
subdivision?
correct.
So,
And so if you, like I
so
have
2-lot
tenant,
subdivision, no
no
requirement.
conservation resource. No, you can't build on it because it's ag land. We had 4 recent applications that took an extraordinary amount of time because they had ag soils on them. And so we made them go back and create a building envelope. One of those applications then came back and said, by making me build in this particular place on my property, you've halved the value of my lot because more than half of the lot was on prime soil and so not buildable. Prime soil, according to those 1970 ag soil maps, where if you were to drive by that property, you would not even think that there was any ag on it ever because it's scrub, brush, crap.
Yeah.
And so they came back and said, hey, you know, this is not tenable for us, can you make a change? And we said yes. And that board member feels that that is the process that should continue. Other board members felt that that is too much control over land that someone else owns, and it's a single lot subdivision. It's not taking a 20-acre meadow and plopping 8 houses in the middle, which I understand the town's concern for that.
Mhm.
But to say, sorry, Ron, you can't cut off 1 acre of property for your kid unless we can tell you where on that 1 acre to put the house.
Yeah.
And if it's ag prime soil, then we're gonna have to have a discussion about it. So,
Wasn't in the briefing that you gave us of the potential changes, didn't I recall that there was a look back, like a certain 5-year, 2-year?
yes,
So
5.
how does that, what does that look back?
So if you make that subdivision that you just made, and then next year you come back and you make 1 more, that's a major subdivision. If it's within a 5-year period,
Yeah.
and it accounts to, it totals more than 2 lots, then it changes to a major. And then it would be subject to conservation
But in the
resource.
6th year, you could back and
You
reapply,
could,
theoretically.
yes. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and, you know, as we
Yeah, thanks for
discussed,
keeping us
the board
informed.
the board, we're looking for public input also, right?
Yes.
So you could feed that back to I mean, we wrote it hasn't been discussed, it wasn't discussed, but we wrote written guidance halfway to the planning and zoning.
Yes,
I haven't heard that discussed, but,
well, it was
We look forward-
discussed at the meeting, I brought it up
okay,
there.
Yeah.
good,
I did.
good.
I will bring it up again. I did bring up that the select board will not be happy with this delay because we're already taking too long.
Well, I
And there was a
don't know,
request-
about that. I mean, I'm not, speaking for myself, the public isn't shouting for change.
Well, the
So-
public who attends the
The
meetings
people
are
that are
shouting
building
for
are the
change.
ones.
I
that
haven't had one
ask
phone
for-
call. I haven't had one phone call saying, we need this change. I attended a majority of those meetings, and I respect the work that planning and zoning, I'm just telling you.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's calling me saying, we need these changes, so, or they haven't called me anyway, so I say that for the record,
Right,
as one board member.
right.
I'll say for the record, I think it makes sense what you're doing. I hope to do.
I,
I think it makes common sense.
Yeah. It's common sense.
if we had had the missing board member present,
It wouldn't have,
I think it wouldn't have gone down the way it did, and one of the board members who voted to support the delay has now changed their mind. So
Hopefully it's,
we'll see.
It sounds like you're forming consensus, and you're
I
working
think
hard at doing
it's,
that.
it's getting better. The interaction is improving, but there are people with very firm views about how things should happen, and they're not all the same.
Thank you. I make a motion, we approve the warrants.
warrants, someone,
I'll
you
second
may
that.
second that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Someone make a motion, we adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn. Thanks for the update, Melissa.
Yeah, appreciate what's going on.